Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready to unpack luxury in Austria.
Let's do it.
We're basing this deep dive on a recent study
Yeah, a really good one, actually.
conducted just last month by Market Agile.
Yes, the one.
They surveyed over 1,000 Austrians, so
A pretty representative sample.
she give us some good insights.
Yeah,
And, spoiler alert, luxury may not be what we think.
definitely some surprises in here.
Okay, so first up, almost half of Austrians, 48%, consider time and freedom the ultimate luxury,
Wow.
more than material wealth. What do you think that says about how things are changing?
I think it really reflects a broader shift, Maybe experiences and well-being are becoming more valuable than just owning stuff.
It's like saying, I'd rather have memories than a Rolex.
Right, exactly.
But here's where it gets interesting. Gen Z actually values luxury more than older generations,
Yeah, that surprised me too. You'd think they'd be all about experiences and social impact, but
but they seem drawn to luxury brands.
it's kind of a conflict, isn't it?
Totally. I mean, they're facing economic uncertainty, climate change.
And yet they still crave that luxury status.
It's fascinating. Maybe it's about wanting stability in a world that feels shaky.
Could be.
Oh.
Or maybe it's their way of expressing themselves in a crowded world.
Okay, so we've got this tension between valuing time, freedom,
Right.
and still craving those luxury brands.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. More than half of Austrians, 53%, see luxury brands as a waste of money,
Hmm.
and a third have never bought one.
That's a big chunk of people. Makes you wonder, are these brands losing their appeal? Why aren't they connecting with everyone?
Yeah, I mean, they're not exactly known for being affordable.
Okay.
Could it be the price tag is turning people off?
Price is definitely part of it, but I think it's more than that.
What do you mean?
We're seeing this shift towards conscious consumption, people thinking about the environment, ethics,
Right.
and luxury brands with their extravagant production focus on exclusivity. They might clash with those values.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, buckle up for this next stat. 40% of Austrians find counterfeit luxury goods acceptable,
Whoa.
and a third admit to buying them.
No way.
Yes way. And for Gen Z, it jumps to 50%.
That's almost normalizing fakes.
It is, right?
Yeah.
But is it ethical?
That's the dilemma. I think it highlights that tension between wanting the status of a brand but not being able to afford it.
Makes you wonder, is luxury becoming more about the idea than the actual product?
Maybe. Like there's this disconnect between the image and the reality of the price, the practices.
Speaking of reality, what about sustainability? Can't talk about luxury without it these days.
Absolutely. And the study found that 70% of Austrians think luxury brands aren't doing enough for sustainability.
Ouch. A potential image problem there.
For sure. But here's the catch. 58% aren't willing to pay more for sustainable luxury goods,
So they want it, but
but not at a higher price.
that's tricky. Can these brands be both exclusive and eco-conscious?
That's the million-dollar question. Is there a market for truly sustainable luxury?
We'll have to see. But first, another sobering stat. 30% think luxury brands have become less appealing lately.
Yeah, and the reasons they give are interesting.
Like what?
Price hikes, the economy, too many luxury brands out there. It's like they're losing their mystique.
Losing your edge.
Exactly.
So are we witnessing the end of an era?
Are luxury brands facing an identity crisis?
Will they adapt or fade away?
We'll have to see. But first, a lot of people think they'll become less important over the next decade.
Seriously. So, like, where do people see luxury fitting into their lives then?
Well, it seems experiences are king. Travel and hotels top the list for where luxury matters most.
Oh, yeah, makes sense. Like that luxurious vacation, escaping everything.
Right. Total freedom, exploring.
Immersing yourself in a new culture or just chilling on a perfect beach.
Hard to beat that. Speaks to that desire for freedom we were talking about.
Definitely. What else was high up there?
Home furnishings came in a close second. Seems like creating a beautiful, comfy home is a priority, too.
Your own personal sanctuary.
Exactly. A place to unwind, recharge.
I like it. Okay, what else?
Then it was leisure activities and hobbies, followed by tech and electronics.
So people are willing to splurge on things that enhance their leisure time, help them pursue passions.
It's all about enjoying that downtime.
Even tech, which we usually associate with busyness, can be about relaxation and entertainment too.
Totally. Streaming shows, music, gaming,
Exactly. So it's not all bad.
not at all. And then further down the list, we have the more classic indulgences: cars, fashion, fine dining, jewelry.
So those traditional luxury trappings are still there, but
But they're sharing the spotlight with experiences, personal growth, even technology.
It's a much broader view of luxury than just, like, flashy cars and designer labels.
Definitely more nuanced. And the shift might explain why some feel those traditional brands are losing their relevance.
You got to adapt to this more holistic, experience-driven idea of luxury.
For sure, if they want to stay ahead of the game.
Speaking of those traditional luxury brands, what qualities do people associate with them?
No surprises here. High prices and exclusivity were top of mind.
Makes sense.
But right after those came prestige, high quality, and unique design.
So the classic hallmarks are still important.
Definitely. People still value craftsmanship, heritage, owning something truly special.
It's that feeling of this is something truly exceptional.
Exactly. But it's also interesting that sustainability is becoming increasingly important too.
Oh, that's good to hear. People are paying attention to ethical practices, environmental impact.
It's about looking beyond the surface, demanding more, knowing where things come from, how they're made.
What impact they have on the world.
Exactly. Conscious consumption, right?
Totally. But remember how a lot of people see luxury brands as a waste of money?
Yeah.
Well, the study also asked about the last time they actually bought a luxury item.
Ooh, getting personal now. So, any big splurges lately?
Well, get this. 35% said they've never bought a luxury item in their lives.
Wow, really?
And of those who have, most said their last purchase was over a year ago.
So even those who appreciate luxury aren't necessarily buying it all the time.
Maybe they're more selective, focusing on quality over quantity.
Or finding other ways to experience luxury without spending a fortune.
Like that idea of everyday luxury.
Oh, I love that.
Those little things that elevate your daily routine. A fantastic cup of coffee.
Yes. A beautifully scented candle.
Or super comfy slippers.
It's about those little moments of indulgence. But let's get back to those big spenders, those who do buy those high-end items. What's most important to them when making those purchases?
Let me guess. Durability.
You nailed it. Durability and craftsmanship were the top priorities.
Makes sense. If you're going to invest that much.
You want it to last and hold its value.
Exactly.
And then, close behind, people wanted good value for their money. Premium materials.
And of course, aesthetics. Gotta look good.
Definitely. But it's interesting that aesthetics aren't the only thing. People are thinking about the whole package. Quality, craftsmanship, longevity, even ethics, and environmental impact.
It's a much more holistic view.
Right. Speaking of ethics, the study also looked deeper into why people buy counterfeit luxury goods.
Oh yeah, that was a surprising number. Especially for Gen Z. So why do they do it?
The main reason, price.
Of course.
Over half said they simply couldn't afford the real deal.
Makes sense. Luxury can be ridiculously expensive. But was it just about saving money?
Well, 34% loved the style but couldn't justify the cost of the authentic items.
So it's about access, being able to participate in that world.
Even if it's through a knockoff. And then 27% admitted it was about keeping up with trends without going broke.
The pressure to keep up is real. But did they feel any guilt about buying fakes?
Interestingly, only 12% said they had no ethical qualms about it.
That's actually lower than I expected.
Right. Most people seem to know it's a bit of a gray area.
Makes sense.
And almost 10% even said it was about convenience. Maybe they were traveling, found a good deal.
Didn't want to hunt down the real thing.
Exactly. So it's this mix of motivations, not always about deceiving people, but belonging, expressing a certain style.
And sometimes just taking a shortcut. But what about the impact on the original brands? Do people think counterfeits hurt or help them?
Well, almost half, 47.5%, believe they actually harm the brands.
Dilutes their exclusivity, damages their reputation, especially if the quality's bad.
Exactly. Raises questions about intellectual property profiting off someone else's work.
Not cool.
But here's the interesting part. 22.5% think counterfeits actually strengthen the original brand.
Seriously? How so?
They argue that fakes increase visibility, might even make people desire the authentic product more, like free advertising.
I guess I see the logic, but I doubt luxury brands would be thrilled about that.
Probably not. They invest a lot in protecting their image, their quality. Having their stuff copied and sold cheap isn't a good look. But let's shift gears a bit and talk more about sustainability. We've talked about how people want brands to be more ethical, but what specific actions are they calling for?
Yeah, let's hear it. What do people want from these luxury giants?
Well, the number one thing, fair labor practices. 69% want ethical treatment of workers throughout the production process.
That's awesome. It's so good to see people caring about the human side of things, you know.
Absolutely. Making sure those making luxury goods are treated fairly.
It's about time. What else?
Coming in a close second, using environmentally friendly materials. 53% want sustainable fabrics and production methods.
People putting their money where their mouth is? Makes sense, though. Sustainability is kind of non-negotiable these days.
It really is.
What else is on that wish list?
Durable, repairable products. 49% want stuff that lasts, no more throwaway culture.
Stuff you can pass down to future generations.
Exactly. Reduces waste, keeps those items valuable.
I like it. Now, what about the actual environmental impact, like carbon footprint and all that? Did the study ask about that?
Yep, 46% want brands to reduce their carbon footprint during production. More energy-efficient manufacturing, cutting down emissions.
It's about looking at the whole picture, you know?
The whole life cycle.
Exactly. Transparency from start to finish. Knowing where materials come from, how it's made, the overall impact.
Making informed choices, rewarding the brands, doing things right.
Totally. But remember how we were talking about how some people see luxury as a waste of money?
Yeah.
Well, are people actually willing to pay more to support these ethical, sustainable practices?
That's the big question, right? Good intentions versus actual spending habits. And there's a bit of a gap there.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, well, 58% support sustainability in theory.
Uh-oh.
Only 43% said they'd actually pay more for eco-friendly luxury items.
So price is still a barrier, even for something like this. It's easy to say you support it, but when you see that price tag,
It can make you hesitate. Highlights the challenge for those brands, balancing sustainability with their exclusivity and pricing.
tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
But hopefully those innovative brands will figure it out.
Fingers crossed.
Definitely. Now, the study didn't just focus on the present, it also asked people to predict the future of luxury brands. What's the outlook?
It's kind of mixed bag. 19% think they'll become even more important over the next decade,
Okay.
but 37% predict they'll actually decline in relevance.
Whoa, so it really is a turning point for these brands. They've got to step up and prove they can keep up with the times, meet those evolving demands.
Otherwise, they risk becoming a thing of the past.
Like dinosaurs.
Exactly. They need to adapt, realize that luxury isn't just about showing off wealth anymore. It's about those deeper values, you know?
Authenticity, sustainability, making a positive impact.
Exactly.
Sounds like luxury brands are having a bit of an identity crisis.
Maybe they are. Figuring out what they stand for in this new world.
Definitely an interesting time to be watching this industry unfold.
It is. Who's going to rise to the challenge and redefine luxury for a new generation?
We'll have to wait and see. Well, folks, there you have it. A peek inside the ever-changing world of luxury. Hopefully this deep dive got you thinking about what luxury truly means to you.
Remember, it's not just about the price tag. It's about the values, the craftsmanship, the stories behind those products.
The positive impact they have.
Exactly.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning.
And keep seeking out those experiences that bring joy, meaning, and a touch of luxury to your life.